Here on SNY, 24-year-old Zach Thornton about to make his Major League debut, fifth-round pick out of Grand Canyon University. Back in 2023, he will take the mound soon at Nationals Park.
Here's Bichette, and Bichette drives one in deep right center, and it's out of here! Bichette with a two-run homer, his second in 2 nights. Bo is back. Bo Bichette strikes again. 2 innings, 2 at-bats, 2 two-run homers for Bo Bichette. He's hit 3 home runs in 8 at-bats in this series.
Look who's caught fire.
I like that call by Gary. Bo is back. That was good right there. Last night was his 10th multi-home run game in his career over the last 4 weeks. Met shortstop has the second most hard hit balls in all of Big League Baseball, just one behind Bobby Witt Jr. and one in front of his teammate Juan Soto. So with that as the backdrop, what do you see right now? We go in the zone with Todd Zeal. What do you see differently here, Todd, when it comes to Bo Bichette and his at-bats lately?
Subtle, Garrett, and that's the thing. He's got the big swing. He's got a lot of leg motion and hand motion. The difference is he's been a little bit more on time lately. We've been waiting for him to get on time. Been driving a lot of balls, more middle and getting some balls on the pull side. Earlier in the year, you see him getting jammed right here on a ball that's only, it's 88 miles an hour on the middle end part, a ball he should turn on. And these are hitter's counts as well. Even in hitter's counts, he was getting the ball deep on him and hitting the ball to right field way more. Now, what you've seen lately is he's driving the baseball and getting extended. You saw the home run last night, and from the side, you can see him actually get extended with his hands out in front, the hips turning a little bit earlier and getting that clearance to get the barrel to the ball. And then the home run on the pull side, this ball is in on him, but you watch, it gets his foot down and then brings his hands in. He's always been a guy that can bring his hands in and really drive it. But these don't really have enough to show some of the little subtleties about what he's doing differently. But what we're seeing right now is last season versus this season, opposite field was down. He's been so much to the opposite field, and that's partly because he's trying to wait so long. He's getting jammed a little bit. Now he's starting to pull the ball a little bit more, and those numbers should start to even out. So what does that all mean? To me, that means that early on, if you look at the plate right here, and Bo had all the movement. He's got the big wrap. He's got the big leg kick. And then what was happening is he was getting himself jammed. He was getting the ball deep here and hitting it to right field and not being able to generate the power. And what are you seeing lately? He's been doing the leg kick, but he's been keeping the backside down. So when he gets the barrel through the baseball, it's at the ball and it's through the middle and on the pull side. And just to give it a little bit more context, an example, look at it from the side. Pitchers out there, and what you were seeing is that put your foot down, but if your hands drift forward, all of a sudden you're jamming yourself. I know this well. That was my biggest problem, Gary, is when I would stride, if my head came forward, your hands can't go with it, and you jam yourself, you don't get that power, you don't get the barrel to the ball. The last few ones that we've seen, he takes the big leg kick, all of that's the same, but when he's landing, this back foot is staying here, so his head's not moving forward, and that's enabling him to get the barrel to the ball like we've seen last night, and he's been driving the ball up in the zone well too. He was missing those for that same drifting reason. Now he's been able to get to the top of the zone and drive the baseball. So subtle difference, hard to see, but he's doing he's made those little adjustments. Yeah. And now who knows? We've always known that he can get hot, and when he gets hot, look out, Gary.
So one of the things we always know is, listen, when he's up the middle and to the right side, he has success. But do you want to see him more of a pull hitter? Is that where he's going to find more success?
Well, you see that in that first graphic that we showed, his opposite field, percentages this year are much higher than last year. Yes, he's going to hit a lot of balls to the opposite field. And by the way, the balls that he hits to the opposite field oftentimes are with 2 strikes because he protects and drives in runs when he has 2 strikes. But we were seeing him get beat deep on balls in hitters counts and without high velo. That tells me he wasn't getting down and being conscious enough of through the middle and pull side. he can still go to the opposite field with 2 strikes.
Very quickly here, he's 6 for 14 in his career against Zach Littell, who's going to make the start for the Nationals in tonight's game. Why is it a good matchup for Bo?
Well, he homered against him in his last time out.
Sure.
He's a guy that he took really aggressive swings against. And look, he sees the ball, and the breaking ball doesn't fool Bo, and he's able to get to that breaking ball. So that's why he's had good success against him.
All right, so as we see the lineup right behind us here, Bo Bichette is in there at shortstop once again for the Mets tonight. He is batting second between Carson Bench and Juan Soto. So Todd and I are going to be back here for Mercedes-Benz post-game live when it's over in D.C. Mets looking to get back in the win column. Mets and Nationals. Zach Thornton making his Major League debut right now.
Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. The New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to D.C. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play Game 3 of their 4-game series against the Nats. Last night was a mess for the Mets, but the one good thing that did happen is that Bo Bichette showed some signs that he has really gotten hot. He hit a home run in the first game of the series, 2 more last night, and maybe this is the turning point for Bichette.
Well, Mendy always said that he's waiting for him to get hot. He's got the resume. You know he was going to get hot sooner or later. But last night, he's got on top of the high pitch, 2 2-iron home runs, one to the opposite field, one he pulled down the line. That's a good sign that he's coming out of it. And he's top of the order. This club's been struggling offensively. He's got the hit to get this club going. Another night, another Major League debut for the Mets. Lefty Zach Thornton will get the first shot at taking Clay Holmes' spot in the rotation. Well, 24-year-old fifth-round pick back in 2023. He's not a hard thrower. He's a control pitcher, but he likes to pitch aggressively in, doesn't walk people, doesn't give up home runs. The Nationals have a left-handed power lineup. That's the reason why he's here, to kind of counter their left-handed power. So the Mets have their Zach with an H. The Nats have their Zach with a K. Zach Littell, whom the Mets beat up at Citi Field. And just the exact opposite, a 9-year veteran. The last 2 seasons he's started. Most of his career he's been a spot starter and a reliever. And over those starts he's been at 500 at 18-18. This year he's got an ERA over 6. He's given up 14 home runs. That's the reason why. So Game 3 of the series tonight. Thunderstorms might be on the way, but it's dry right now as the Mets and Nats prepare to play baseball in the shadow of the Washington Monument. All the action coming up on SNY.
Before that at bat, I said, man, I've never hit a walk-off homer. And I said, it would have been nice hitting one right now.
Torres drives it deep left center field. Taylor back near the wall. It's out of here! Wilmer Flores night at Citi Field comes to a fitting close, and the Mets win it 2-1 in 12.
Mets memories presented by Trevigen. Do you know that Wilmer Flores is playing in the Mexican League? I saw that, yes, and doing well. So the Tijuana Toros, he said .329 with 3 home runs in 22 games. Call him up. Somebody give Wilmer a job. Yes. Get walk-off hits for you. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota summer starts here. Event is on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Spectrum, it's internet, mobile, and streaming TV all from one place. The New York Lottery, play today and start imagining your win. And by Genesis, discover the award-winning lineup of Genesis SUVs and sedans at your local tri-state Genesis retailer. First 15,000 fans at the game May 30th will get a Lee Mazzilli and Bobby Valentine players pin in honor of their induction to the Mets Hall of Fame. For tickets, go to Mets.com/tickets. This season, get a Baja for a blast. When a Mets home run clears 420 feet, you can score a free 20-ounce Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Wow. Register now at BajaBlastHomeRuns.com to unlock their offer. Papa John's key ingredients, Zach Littell gave up 13 of those home runs in his first 6 appearances this year, only 1 in his last 3. Nobody other than Jameson Taillon has given up more home runs this year. Let's look for some long balls tonight in support of Zach Thornton. The 24-year-old makes his debut coming up. Zach Thornton walking in from the bullpen, blowing a kiss to his dad, Paul, who made it here out of hospital rehab in Chicago, trying to come back from a rough back surgery, but he could not miss his son's big league debut tonight.
Oh, he's good. He's teary-eyed. Look at that.
See him wearing the KU shirt. He is a track coach at Kansas.
Oh boy, Jayhawkers.
Honda Mets starting lineup tonight. A.J. Ewing back in there after sitting last night. M.J. Melendez also in there against the right-hander. Hayden Singer getting the start, giving Luis Torrens a night off as the Mets face Zach Littell for the second time this year.
And there's the 9-year veteran, Zach Littell. Like you mentioned, the home runs have been his bugaboo. The opposing teams are only hitting .281 against him, which is high. But you think with that earned run average, they'd be hitting over .300 against him. But it's obviously the long ball-itis, which has been his bugaboo. And the Suffolk Credit Union National Defense. You got Jacob Young back in the lineup. Remember, he got hit by a pitch and missed yesterday's game. He can go get him in center field. The newly called up Dylan Cruz is a good fielder out there in right field as well. It's a good outfield defense, this ball club.
Now 20 degrees cooler tonight than it was last night at game time. 76 degrees. Thunderstorms approaching. Carson Bench leads off. Bench has had back-to-back 3-hit games to start this series. Littell's first pitch is a fastball on the inside corner for a strike, and we're underway. In fact, both leadoff hitters in this series have had back-to-back 3-hit games. Bench for the Mets, James Wood for the Nats. Bench up to 265 on the year, and he pops this one up behind second base. Coming in the center fielder Young, and he's there to grab it for the first out of the night. Good to see Jacob Young back in there after he took a pitch in the ribs from his old college teammate Christian Scott on Monday.
Well, we had the phantom rain delay yesterday, folks, and the game started late. But this one, the clouds look a little more ominous, but we're fortunately starting on time.
So quite a series for Bichette so far. Bo is 5 for 10 in the first 2 games with 3 home runs and 7 runs driven in.
Pitching.
He had a good sign on Sunday where they hit his last time up against the Yankees, and it's carried over into this series. Bichette's got great career numbers against Littell, 6 for 14 with a home run.
Boy, he's barely on the rubber there, Garrett. Just the balls of his toes, feet, I should say, on the first base side of that rubber.
Where Kevin Brown used to pitch from, just barely in contact with the corner of the rubber. Littell ahead in the count 0-2. And Bichette takes a fastball high 1-2. Littell now 30 years old, Burlington, North Carolina native, originally drafted by Seattle in 2013. This is his 6th different major league club. Pitched last year for Tampa Bay and Cincinnati, and had a good year. Fouled away by Bichette. Overall last year he made 32 starts, 10-8, 3.81, only a walk and a half per 9 innings. His walks are up this year, his strikeouts are down, and as Keith mentioned, the home runs have been a big problem.
And the year before, Gary made 29 starts.
1-2 coming, and Bichette yanks one foul. Littell's coming off a good start his last time out Friday against Baltimore. 5 scoreless innings, 2 hits. Got the win in a 3-2 Washington victory. So perhaps he is trending in the right direction. Bichette lines one over first. That's down the line but foul. The Mets strafed Littell for 8 runs in 3 2/3 innings. He had some defensive problems behind him. Third baseman Jorby Vivas made an error that opened up a 7-run inning.
Yeah, but 4 runs were earned. 4 unearned runs. This is a ball club that doesn't play good defense.
And a foul tip held on to by Ruiz, and Bichette is struck out for the second out.
Well, I should clarify that. Their outfield defense is very good, but their infield defense has been shoddy. And just a fastball down the middle here, and he swung right through it. This is right down the pipe. He beat him a little bit.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Juan Soto, whose bat has certainly heated up. And Soto cranks one to deep right center field. Back goes Cruz, back near the wall, leaping, and he made the catch.
Wow.
Dylan Cruz right up against the scoreboard. Game of the year, takes an extra base hit away from Soto. Platoon in there against Zach Thornton. Andres Chaparro gets a start. So does Gabriel Ruiz. Of course, the big left-handed bats, Wood and Abrams and Lyle, stay in there.
And there's young Zach Thornton, 24 years of age, making his debut. And there's his AAA numbers, AA and AAA.
James Wood 6 for 11 in this series. Takes a fastball for a strike. And throwing strikes is Zach Thornton's stock in trade.
Right over the top, Garrett. A little big front shoulder lift right over the top.
And he quickly gets ahead on Wood, 0-2. Thornton last year in 73 minor league innings walked only 11 batters. This year his walk rate's a little bit higher, 12 walks in 37 innings, but the standard remains. It's not a hard thrower, but he will fill the plate. Ball and 2 strikes to Wood. Thornton is 24 years old, born in Minnesota, but grew up in Kansas. Went to junior college and then to Grand Canyon University. 1-2 coming, and Wood tops one to second. Coming in is Semi into field, and that's the first out. So Zach Thornton gets his first big league out on a ground ball.
And your Genesis Metropolitan defense, Juan back out. That's Juan Soto, of course, back out in left field. Ewing and Benj, the 2 rooks, round out the outfield. The infield is always, these guys answer the bell every day.
There's Curtis Mead, who takes a curveball for a strike. Mead, the Australian, came off the bench in the first game of this series, got on base 3 times. And he rips that one down the left field line, but foul. 0-2 to Mead. Mead playing third base today. The Nats sent Brady House down to the minors yesterday, the 22-year-old who figures to be their third baseman for a long time, but he felt as though he needed some more seasoning. He takes changeup off the plate, and it's 1-2.
Did you notice, Gary, the entire infield has white shoes, and the outfield as well? Looks like, except for Juan, everybody's wearing white shoes, it looks like.
Joe Namath Day. Looped in the air, shallow right center. Benj coming on, but left to play it on the hop. And Mead dumps a single into right field. And he's the first base runner of the night.
Well, little parachute out there. Oh, he just got in on his Cosina big time with that little cutter. And he's just a fortunate base hit.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Andres Chaparro, who was just called up yesterday. He was up earlier this year. He's only had 9 big league at bats this year. And backdoor slider in for a strike, 0-1. Chaparro acquired from Arizona at the deadline in 24 after spending 8 years in the Yankees organization. And that one pops out of the mid of Singer. It's called a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oh yeah, he wants to know if it was down. Okay, I thought it was a strike.
It looked like a strike, but when the catcher doesn't catch the ball, it makes it that much harder for the umpire to call it a strike.
Well, very interesting. A young rook asking where the pitch is. I like it.
Short lead at first for Mead, and Chaparro swings and misses at a curveball, and it's 1-2. Thornton had reverse splits in the minors this year. The lefties hit much better against him than the righties. Lefties hit 279, the righties just 211.
Doesn't give up home runs.
Bounces that one, and it's 2-2.
He's only given up 2 home runs in his 7 starts.
Made 5 starts for Binghamton AA, then 2 starts for Syracuse AAA last Friday through 6 shutout innings against Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and now here he is. And he misses inside with that slider, and it's 3-2. C.J. Abrams, the on-deck batter. Mead at first, average speed, 3-2, 1 out. Not running, and Chaparro takes ball 4. Slider just missed. So a bloop single and a walk, and the Nats have 2 men on in the first. The Nats have scored more first-inning runs than any team in baseball this year. They've not scored in the first inning in this series, but 39 runs in their first 49 games have come in the first inning. So now Abrams, who's 2 for 8 in this series. First and second and 1 out. And Abrams takes the cutter off the plate for ball 1.
Home plate umpire John Bacon, and it's a scouting report on him, is that he's a pitcher-friendly umpire. But thus far, he's had kind of a tight strike zone.
Number foul on another cutter by Thornton. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Bacon has the plate. Chris Siegel at first. Todd Tishner, the crew chief, at second. Clint Bondurant at third.
Abrams, one of the few left-hand hitters. They've had success hitting .304 against lefties.
And a high fly ball deep to right field. Back goes Benj to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. C.J. Abrams with a 3-run first-inning home run. 10th home run of the year for Abrams, his first against a left-hander. And the Nats jump out to a 3-0 first-inning lead.
I believe he hung a slide ball there, Gare.
So a rough beginning for Zach Thornton. And now Dylan Cruz bats. Cruz's second big league game of the year just got called up yesterday. It takes up and in ball 1. Cruz went 1 for 4 yesterday. The Nats now have 4 regular outfielders for 3 spots. James Wood is DHing today, which gives them their best defensive outfield with Young in center and Cruz in right. And Cruz contributed a fine catch on the ball hit by Soto in the last half inning.
Here's the home run. Oh, look at the little slider, belt high, too much plate, and flat. Stayed horizontal.
One of the weird things about this Washington team this year, they're the highest scoring team in baseball. They are dominated by their left-handed bats, Wood and Abrams. But they actually have hit far better as a team against lefties than they have against righties. 274 against lefties, just 233 against righties. 2-2 to Cruz with Dalen Lyle on deck. And fastball got him looking. So Cruz looking for the breaking ball, got the express, and Thornton has his first big league strikeout, 2 out.
And that's what we've heard about young Thornton. Right-handers, he aggressively pitches inside. And there he puts that, darts that fastball right on the inside corner. Good pitch.
Now Dalen Lyle. Lyle's 1 for 10 in this series, but he's driven in 11 runs in his last 12 games. And he takes his fastball strike, 1-1. Lyle's hit about the same against lefties and righties this year, but all his home runs against righties. Hits this one on the ground to Simeon. So Thornton gets through his first inning, but not before C.J. Abrams hits a 3-run homer. 3-0 Nats. Mark Vientos leads off the second inning and flies one down the left field line. A long run for Lyle over toward the stripe, and it lands. Fair ball. Vientos on his way to second, and Mark stands with a fly ball double. First hit of the night for the Mets. Vientos' 8th double of the year.
Where was the left fielder playing? That had a lot of hang time. There's a little slider, a little cutter off the end of the bat, and that's a well placed.
So the Mets have their first base runner of the night now, MJ Melendez, in a 1-for-20 hole right now. And he takes fastball strike, and we go downstairs to Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary standing by now with the Thornton family, Paul, Julie, Zach's parents, and Marissa, Zach's sister, who was quite the cheering section over there in that last half inning. For those who don't know the story, though, briefly, Paul, about 2 months ago, as Melendez skies this one out to deep center field for the first out of the inning, about 2 months ago, had some complications with spinal surgery, left you temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. Given those circumstances and everything that you personally and as a family have gone through over the last 2 months, just how much more meaningful was that phone call from Zach telling you he got called up to the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, being called up is one thing, and that's a special thing. But given a situation in which we have had and the support that the Mets have provided Zach over the last couple months, has nothing been short of awesome, and it makes it a lot more of a special thing.
Yeah, Julie, I had heard that when Zach came to visit you in Chicago, that he was actually throwing bullpens. The Mets had supported him and brought coaches out to make sure he threw bullpens and stayed on track.
Absolutely, yeah. The first day he had played catch with the Dan McKinney. The next day he was with.
There's a base hit RBI. You'll take that too.
Ultimately threw a bullpen at the University of Chicago, which was pretty cool that they did all that for him. Yeah.
You know, for anybody that gets to this level, you have to overcome incredible hurdles, right? But this is something that most players don't have to deal with, especially as the season is starting. So knowing Zach the way that you guys do, what is it in his nature that allowed him to push through that and make the big leagues this quickly?
His nature of being competitive. He's one of the most competitive people I've ever been around. As I mentioned to you, he never loses, just runs out of time. But I think he's been an underdog since a little guy, and he's been forced to really work hard. And growing up from the minor leagues and now to this, it's all about being competitive and being the underdog. And so that's, I think, ultimately how he got here.
Julie, when you watch him out there on the mound, on the big league mound for the first time, can you put into context what you were feeling, what you were thinking?
I mean, it's hard to believe because, of course, we're like, what? This is happening already? But yeah, just so much pride, and the things that Paul said about just like he's been an underdog, and I just feel like he's gone through so much. So it's just so fun, just a prideful moment to see him here now. Like, oh, so exciting.
Marissa, let me get you in on this. Just to ask the siblings' perspective on the whole thing. Obviously, what you've been dealing with, you understand what Zach's gone through. What have you seen from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anyone watching him, I mean, the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you would never know what he's been going through. So I think he puts his head down, he grinds, and like my dad said, he's a competitive guy. So he's going to give it his all, and that's what he does with everything he does, mainly baseball, because
yeah,
that is his thing.
Paul, I will leave you with one last question. I know you're on the upswing, and that's the best news of all. How much was Zach getting to this level and you being here to watch that motivating for you over these last 6-7 weeks?
I mean, it was a highly motivating thing. You know, I've had goals to be able to walk in June. And, you know, one of my goals was to walk at an MLB debut. I did not think it would happen this fast. And so it was special. And I am doing well. I'm starting to stand, and I'm able to walk with a walker a little bit. But right now, today, to move around here, it's better to be in a wheelchair.
Paul, Julie, Marissa, thank you so much for sharing your story and for taking a few moments on this fantastic day. Yeah. Congratulations and good luck moving forward.
One quick thing, they have some hot dogs here that are specially made for the New York fans. I guess the Nationals have a new, like a hot dog for every visiting team. So it's right here.
We didn't even know that. The field producer, well, yesterday our field producer gave me honey mustard, so I might need to take another go at it. Thank you so much. Guys, clearly they're watching. They're watching the broadcast, Gare.
Well, thanks, Stephen. Thanks to the Thornton family, and good luck to Paul, who I hear is not going to have to go back to the rehab center in Chicago. He's going home to a rehab center closer to his home in Kansas, so he's making progress every day. Ewing hits one up the middle for a base hit. Beatty will go first to third as Young gets the ball in. Ewing stops at first. Third hit of the inning for New York. So A.J. Ewing back in the lineup and back to hitting.
Compact stroke, little cutter that didn't cut up. Look how him get on top. Boy, that young man can hit. I love his swing. Easy first to third for Beatty here.
So a chance for Hayden Singer, who picked up his first hit of the year in extra innings on Monday night. Singer takes up an in from Littell. Brett Beatty with an RBI single to get the Mets on the board. Now they've got the tying runs on base after the Nats put up a 3 spot in the bottom of the first against Thornton. Beatty's already gotten him one back. Now Singer trying to get him even closer. Singer flies one along the right field line, a long run for Cruz into foul ground, and that'll go out of play. Hayden Singer called up in the wake of Francisco Alvarez's knee injury that'll probably keep him out for a couple of months. Singer making his third start since his call up. Day game tomorrow. Luis Torrens will be back in there catching David Peterson and company. Ewing a big lead at first. Long hold by Littell. Not going, and high fastball has Singer swinging 1-2. It's been very aggressive early in the count against Littell in the first inning and again in this inning. He's only thrown 14 pitches to 6 batters. Beatty at third, Ewing at first with 2 down. There goes Ewing. Singer strikes out, inning over. Second strikeout for Littell. Mets settle for just the 1 run. It's 3-1 Nats in the second. Home second inning. Jacob Young takes a strike from Zach Thornton. Young back in the lineup after getting hit in the ribs on Monday. He came in for defense late yesterday and back in the starting lineup today. That fastball just missed. A ball and a strike. Lower third of the order for Littell.
There's no honey mustard on that. That's a real McCoy mustard.
Yeah, but that's ketchup also. Come on. Keith, I know that.
I don't mind the ketchup.
I know that you don't, but
I think it's just a West Coast thing.
Yeah, probably. New Yorkers, we want our, our spicy brown mustard. Heidi Young, and it's 3-1. Not the honey mustard.
Oh, the honey mustard
goes without saying.
I mean, I hate to criticize the product, but that's terrible.
Right down the middle for strike 3-2 to Young. Nasim Nunez, the switch hitting second baseman, is on deck, and then Keibert Ruiz for the Nats in the second. Two. Hit out to right field. Benj gives some ground and makes the catch going away. 1 out. Score big on authentic gear at MLBshop.com. From official jerseys and memorabilia to hats and hoodies. Visit MLBshop.com/Mets, the official source for your Mets gear. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Nasim Nunez, who's 2 for 7 in this series. Switch hitter is far better from this side of the plate, and he bluffs a bunt and takes inside for ball 1. Nunez, a .278 hitter as a right-hand batter, just .167 from the left side. Leads the league in stolen bases, terrific defender, and he has been the most of the time second baseman. Nunez going to challenge that strike call.
Boy, 1-0 count, nobody on base, second inning.
ABS powered by T-Mobile, and he
correct.
gets the call. Never a bad call if you're right.
Oh, you second guessers.
That's the nature of the beast, Keith. And now he takes a half swing on a 2-0 pitch and winds up in the same spot that he was.
Got a nice little cutter. Nice little cutter to those right-handers.
And he gets that one to the top of the zone for a strike, and it's 2-2. Thornton does not throw hard, as you can see from the radar gun, but he does have good induced vertical break, which means that his ball does not sink as much as a normal fastball should. It's fouled down the right field line. 16 inches of induced vertical break, which is
explaining induced.
It means that it drops less than you would expect gravity to make it drop.
So in layman's terms,
it's a rising fastball, except that there's no such thing as a rising fastball.
Thank you.
Because that's physically impossible, because, you know, gravity.
So I always think
Isaac Newton and the apple and all that. 2-2 on the way, too high. I mean, if Isaac had tried to throw that apple off a mound and get it to go up,
that's right,
he would have had
no gravity.
Many more laws. Nunez is on with a walk. You don't want to be walking Steve Nunez. Always a threat to run.
And that's uncharacteristic. That's 2 walks now. He's a little bit nervous. He's showing a lot of poise. There's Justin Willard, the pitching coach for your Metsies.
I mean, remember that Thornton only made 2 starts in AAA. It's kind of like Jonah Tong last year when he got called up. He only made 2 starts in AAA.
It's a big jump.
Caper Ruiz, the switch hitting catcher, first start in the series for Ruiz. They've got 2 switch hitting catchers. Drew Millis is a better left-hand hitter. He started the first 2 games, and Ruiz a better right-hand hitter. He's hitting .297 from this side of the plate, 100 points higher than he's hitting from the left side. Nunez 20 steals to lead the National League. Thornton stares him down. He's going. The throw by Singer is into center field, and Nunez will go to third. So a stolen base for Nasim Nunez is 21st of the year, and a bad throw by Singer moves him to third on the air.
Yeah. He did have the pillow stolen. Infield in. It's good to see speed getting back into the game here. It's adds an exciting element.
And Nats have tons of speed, and Nats are trying to catch up in that regard. Infield in. Ruiz takes a letter high strike.
Boy, high strike zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes. So Thornton, who has struck out 1 tonight, a spot where he could use a strikeout.
Ruiz has been swinging a good bat of late.
1-2. He fouls it away. I mean, it's a conundrum right now for the Nats in terms of their catching situation, because Ruiz, his numbers this year are better by far than they were last year. But is that because he's playing less? He's basically been splitting the time with Millis instead of playing 2 out of every 3. Well, 2-2 to Ruiz.
He's a better right-hand hitter than left, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's his 5th year with the Nats, and he's never produced offensively the way they had hoped, so they reduced his role this year, and the numbers have been good as a result. 2-2 on the way. He pulls that one foul, almost decked his base runner at third.
He was part of the trade with the Dodgers, correct, Garrett Ruiz?
Max Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Yeah.
It'll be the 7th pitch of the at-bat from Thornton to Ruiz with James Wood on deck. And Ruiz just got a piece of that slider to stay on the at-bat. Thornton's thrown a lot of pitches in these first 2 innings. 46 pitches. He's only got 4 outs. Again, the 2-2. And it's lined through the hole into left field, a base hit. And that'll bring in Nunez with the 4th Washington run. So Keibert Ruiz, an 8-pitch at bat, hits it past the drawn-in infield. And the Nats lead 4-1.
Hanging breaking ball right here. Stayed right in. Kind of just fluttered in there.
So the stolen base and the error produce a run, and now James Wood, who grounded out his first time up. Wood flies one foul down the left field side out of play. So, you know, we've talked a lot about James Wood since he came up, about his dad, Kenny, who was a great basketball player on Long Island and at the University of Richmond. Well, apparently his mom had heard enough about his dad's influence on his son's performance, because today, after James Wood hit the inside the park grand slam yesterday, his mom, Paula Wood, sent out a tweet to the world, and I'll read it for you verbatim. It says, studies say that mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited from your mother, determines how efficiently the body transforms energy into speed, power, and stamina. I'm just saying.
Noted.
You go, Paula. 1-2 coming to Wood. And he hits this one out to right center field deep. Back goes Benj onto the warning track, and he makes the catch right before he hits the scoreboard fence. Nicely done by Carson Benj as he runs down that long drive from Wood for the second out.
This is another hanging breaking ball here. Benj is fearless. He can play in the field. Good glove, along with Ewing. These young men stay healthy. They're going to be in the orange and blue for a very long time.
That awful chain link fence in front of the scoreboard. I don't worry about guys catching their fingers on that. Here's Curtis Mead.
Oh, where's that pitch?
He takes a fastball that I guess John Bacon thought was low.
Scouting reports that Bacon's friendly to the pitcher low in the strike zone. He's been friendly to the pitcher up in the strike zone today.
Well, all you have to do is challenge the call, then Bacon get fried. That's driven down the left field line. That'll hook and go foul. Home run distance all the way, but just a long strike, and it's 1-1 to Meade. .53 pitches already for Thornton. Still looking to get through the second inning. And Meade swings and misses. The ball gets away, but not far enough for Ruiz to advance. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One-two coming. Fouls it away. Mets only used one reliever last night. Nolan McLean, who clearly didn't have it, was asked to really push through and throw 100 pitches in 5 2/3 on a night when he got strafed. So the Mets used Daniel Duarte for 2 1/3. Duarte was rewarded by getting sent back to the minors today to make room for Thornton. But it means the rest of the Mets bullpen is fairly well rested despite the 12-inning game on Monday night. You know, it's not that unusual for a pitcher to give up 9 runs. But there are only 2 other pitchers in Mets history who's given up 9 runs in a game and gotten at least 17 outs.
I saw that note.
Jay Hook did it in the first year of Mets history. He's the same guy who got the first win in Mets history in 1962. And John Matlack did it in 1977, and McLean the first in almost 50 years to give up 9 runs and get that deep into a game. Normally give up that many runs, you're out early. And that cutter misses low and in. It's 2-2 to Meade. 26 pitches in the first inning, 31 already in the second inning. And Meade takes a fastball for a strike 3 call. So Thornton puts the second inning to bed. An unearned run puts the Nats up 4-1.
We're on after postgame.
Be one of the first 15,000 fans at the game on Tuesday, May 26th, and get a 1986 World Series Champions Retro T-shirt. For tickets, go to Mets.com/tickets. Mets down 4-1 as they come to bat in the third. Top of the batting order, Carson Bench. Flied out to center field his first time up. And Zach Littell gets the off-speed pitch in for a strike, 0-1. Bench, Bichette, and Soto for the Mets in the third. That's got a run on 3 hits against Littell in the second. That's got that run right back in the bottom of the second. I said unearned, not unearned, because Nunez would have scored from second on the base hit.
Yeah.
Braves have gone in front of the Marlins 3-1 on an Austin Riley 3-run homer. That game's in the third in Miami. Mets are going to Miami after the game tomorrow. If there is a game tomorrow, it's supposed to rain most of the day.
Got a big out west right now, moving in that northeast direction. That's going to come from the Appalachians and move eastward.
I just love your meteorological tendencies. You floor me every time. And Bench stopped the swing in time. Third base umpire Clint Vondrack with the call, and it's 3-1. Can you tell me about the cold front coming in from Manitoba?
No.
You're more locally focused on your weather maps. Bench drives one to center, but right at Jacob Young, who had him played perfectly. Another hard hit ball for Carson Bench, but Young there to grab it, 1 away.
Great big hang with him. Boy, he looks good. He's really starting to come into his own. I mean, you really think about him, Bench. The team was playing so poorly in April. It had to be tough for a young player, a rookie, and the team playing so poorly and not hitting.
And Bichette drives one deep toward the left field corner, right toward the pole, but it goes foul. Well, we'll say this about Carson Bench. No matter how bad the team was playing, and now no matter how low his batting average went, nothing ever seemed to phase it.
But, you know, there's a lot churning on inside. He just handled it so professionally.
Bichette flies this one out to right, easy for Cruz. And that's the second out.
Just showed a lot of maturity, confidence. You know, 'cause you never know on the outside what's on the inside. And he was on the interstate for a long time, Gary, and he could have folded his tent. I give the Mets credit for Hank keeping him and not sending him down. And look at him now. He is just relaxed, and he's kind of getting into the flow of the season, and we're seeing why he made the ball club.
Juan Soto hit a fly ball to the right field fence that Cruz was able to catch in the first inning.
Another thing too, he plays good defense.
That's what kept him here.
Yep. And yep.
Even when he wasn't hitting.
And he's a good base runner. He's got good instincts on the bases, and he can run. He's got a lot going for him. And Met fans should feel real excited about this young guy.
So they're taking all the way, 2-1. Juan's got a 6-game hitting streak going, hitting over 400, 3 homers in those 6 games, as his bat has really started to explode. He drives that one to deep right field. Cruz can only watch this one go. A home run for Juan Soto off the facing of the second deck. Came close to a home run his first time up. This time he makes no mistake. His 8th home run of the year, his 2nd in this series, to get the Mets back to within 4-2.
You know, I was just going to say 2-0 count. He fakes a bunt. That's how confident he was that Littell has nothing to. You have nothing to get me out.
416 feet on that home run. He had one 434 last night. He is really locked in. 4 home runs now in his last 7 games. Vientos pops one foul.
Tried to come inside. No, he didn't. Out over the plate. Yep, he clocked it.
Carlos Mendoza was in the opposing dugout when Soto hit his first major league home run for the Nats against the Yankees. And he said he hit it over the second deck and hit the truck that's parked up there on the concourse.
The burgundy SUV.
His first big league home run. Popped up by Vientos. Abrams has got it, and that retires the side. Soto's home run gets the Mets closer, 4-2 Nats in the third. Andres Chaparro leads off the third against Zach Thornton. It took 58 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. Chaparro drew a walk and scored in front of C.J. Abrams' home run in the first inning. Fourth start of the year for Chaparro. The Nats have had more platoon advantage at bats than any team in the National League this year. So Luis Garcia doesn't play against lefties. They sat Jorby Vivas against lefties. So guys like Chaparro and Curtis Mead get at bats, and this is part of the new regime in Washington with Blake Butera, the youngest skipper in the big leagues. Paul Taboni, the president of baseball operations, grounded to third. Beatty secures it and throws out Chaparro one away. It's a very young brain trust for the Nats, and they basically started from scratch. There were no scholarships this spring. And that's what happens when a new regime takes over. You know, you had a lot of young players here who had to prove themselves all over again. That's how Dylan Cruz wound up in the minor leagues to start the season.
Happened to me in 1977. Vern Rapp took over the ball club from Red Shandy's, and he came in, and I had Roger Freed was my competition. And Vern brought him in. He had managed him at Denver in the American Association AAA, and of course Roger hit like 40 home runs in the Mile High, and Vern was talking him up.
Check swing tapper back to Thornton. His throw is true, 2 away.
So to make a long story short, I always had a bad April back then, and I went into the season starting, and I was like, I better get off to a hot start. So I think we opened up in Philly, or it might have been Pittsburgh, I forget. But in a 3-game series, I hit 3 home runs, Gary. I had a big opening series, and I was on my way, and Roger got a lot of slivers from the pine.
So you saved yourself.
I was under the gun.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, Gabe. If you hit, they'll find a spot in the lineup for you. Cruz lines one to center. Ewing's got it, and Thornton has a badly needed quick inning. 1, 2, 3.
Go with Bear, exclusively at the Home Depot.
MJ Melendez leads off and gets one in the air to right field. Out goes the second baseman Nunez, called off by Cruz, who makes the catch just inside the line.
Good verb.
Long way to get that.
Yeah, it seems, up here we got such an overview of the stadium. We're so high up. You just really can appreciate all the ground that the outfielders have to cover. I mean, they've got a lot of territory. Good verbal communication.
One out and nobody on now. Brett Beatty, who drove in the Mets' first run with a base hit to right in the second. Well, you mentioned our location, and it bears repeating because it's so, I don't know, ridiculous. When they first built this stadium, it opened in 2008. Is that about right? Because they played at RFK for 3 years, and then they opened here in 2000. I think that's right.
We were glad they got out of RFK.
Anyway, the panel on the elevator indicated that the broadcast level was on the 7th floor, which, you know, seems pretty high. And it is. It's the highest broadcast location in all of baseball. But they got so much flack about putting the broadcasters on the 7th floor that they changed the numbering system on the elevator. And this is now the 5th floor. They added they changed the numbers on 2 of the floors to like suite level and mezzanine level.
Right.
So that instead of us being on the 7th floor, we're on the 5th floor.
But we're not.
But we're in the same place. It's like they could talk it into being not so bad.
I always get confused. And FL is field level, okay. And there's SL or suite level.
Right. And here's the other part about it. This booth is so high. As Beatty flies one out to center and circling it is Young for the second out, that there are 3 elevators that can take you up from field level. But 2 of them don't even come up this high.
I thought it was just the one.
Right. 2 of them go up this high, 1 of them doesn't. It's almost like it runs out of air because it's so high up here. There's a lack of oxygen.
Not to belabor a point,
Yeah.
is that if the elevator, the one that doesn't go up as high, if it comes down first, we can't get in it because it won't take us where we want to go. We have to press the button to get it to move up so we can get the other 2 to come down.
You have to send it on its way. Fly ball down the right field line by Semi, and that'll go out of play.
And
Now, after all of that, I will say that I know that almost every broadcaster who comes here hates this broadcast location because it is so high. For me, I happen to love this view because this is the exact same view that I had from Section 1 in the upper deck at Shea Stadium. Semi and flies one out to left, and Lyle is right there waiting for it. And that retires aside. So it's very nostalgic for me.
I hope we didn't bore you folks.
We have everything but the Serval zipper sign in center field.
New York Lottery. Play today.
Don't ever forget that the Washington Nationals are the same franchise that was once the Montreal Expos. Laurent Derange, Dusty Staub, big hero in Montreal. Tim Wallach, great underrated player. And the doubles. Tim Raines, one of the best leadoff hitters in history. And the Hawk. They had some great teams in Montreal, didn't they?
They sure did.
Hall of Famer Vladimir Guerrero. Dylan Lyle flies the first pitch to right field as we start the bottom of the 4th. Bench comes in under it, makes the grab. 1 pitch, 1 out for Thornton.
Settling in.
Zach required 58 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. Only 10 pitches in the 3rd, and now a first pitch out in the 4th. For the first few years that they came here to Washington, the Nationals did not honor the history of the Expos. They were more concerned about Washington baseball history, the old Senators, the team that moved to Minnesota in 1961, Walter Johnson, and all that era of baseball. But the fact of the matter is, you couldn't wipe out the history of the Expos. And after a few years, they came around and they added some of the Expos players to their ring of honor there. Foul ball as Beatty goes through with the play, but it was a foul ball, which was nice. It was nice that they did that. I think there was a lot of outside pressure on them to acknowledge that the Expos really existed. That was a great and proud franchise, and maybe some of the best teams that never won. Think of all the talent that went through there in Montreal and how they had to tear down their team after the strike in '94. 1994, before the strike scuttled the season, they had the best record in the National League. Thornton picks up a strikeout as he gets Jacob Young. 3rd strikeout for Zach, who's now retired 7 in a row.
Slider in the dirt.
2 out and nobody on. There's action in the Nationals bullpen. Lefty P.J. Pulden is up. There's no action in the Mets bullpen. Nasim Nunez walked, stole a base, scored a run in the second. Thornton filling the strike zone now. This is what you expected to see from him. A finesse pitcher who hates to walk people. He said, I hate to walk people the same way Carson Bench hates to strike out.
Well, he should today. Both the walks he's issued have scored.
Ground ball. The shot on the backhand. It comes up. And he throws out Nunez. That's 8 in a row, retired by Zach Thornton. Nice recovery. 4-2 Nats after.
Resources to help you customize your action plan.
A.J. Ewing leads off the 5th inning for New York. We check in with Steve.
Gary, of all the positives A.J. Ewing has brought to the table early in his MLB career, for me what stood out the most is his plate discipline. And I was speaking with David Stearns about it yesterday. He said what really is special about Ewing's plate discipline is how he doesn't chase when the count runs full. Apparently across Major League Baseball, and the numbers back this up, in full counts, chase rates go way up. For the Mets in particular, they go up about 20% across the board. Not A.J. Ewing, while the team, aside from him, chases at a 57% rate in 3-2 counts. Ewing so far this season just swinging at 1 of 8 pitches he saw outside of the zone.
Wow. And the base hit to center his first time up today. He flies this one out to left, and Lyle eases back and grabs it one away. Well, the Mets have certainly staged a youth movement over the last week. They already have Carson Bench here from opening day, but adding Ewing and adding Morabito, and today adding Thornton. Nolan McLean is a rookie as well. That's 5 rookies the Mets have on their club, and this weekend they could have a 6th. Jonah Tong was scratched from his start for Syracuse today, and it could well be that Tong will join the Mets in Miami and be part of their pitching over the weekend. The figuring is that the Mets are playing 16 straight days without an off day, and that everybody in that rotation could use a little blow. Freddie Peralta would be scheduled to pitch the first game in Florida if they don't make a move, but that's why they're considering Tong to be part of the mix on Friday. So this team that was built on veteran talent has all of a sudden gotten extremely young. Hayden Sanger struck out his first time up. And yes, Tong is still a rookie despite his big league experience last year. Same as McLean. To Sanger, Carson Bench on deck. And a full count to Sanger.
Well, one thing that Littell doesn't want to do is walk Sanger.
Littell has gotten 13 outs, 2 via the strikeout. The other 11 have all been in the air. No ground balls. That's on the outside corner, and Sanger's caught looking. So he strikes out for the second time, and there are 2 out in the 5th.
Well, he painted his wagon right there on the outside corner. This is a good pitch. Knee-high outside corner. I just don't understand. If it's a strike, you have to frame it. Hold the glove. If it's a strike, Gary, hold the glove where you catch it and let the umpire see it and hold it there. There's no need to bring it back up. It's a bunch of baloney.
Now Benj dumps one into right field for a base hit. So Carson Benj retired on a bullet to center field his last time up. Hits it softly into right and gets a hit. They won't leave it on the end, right?
Well, this is also something I've been saying about Benj lately. With him more relaxed, he was having a devil of a time, Gary, hitting the high pitch. And there he is. He muscles it out. That was above the belt. That pitch was tying him up the pitch above the belt in the letters. He's starting to hit that pitch.
His 7th hit in this series, and now Bo Bichette, the tying run at the plate. Bichette fouls one off. Had a pitch to hit there.
Oh, it was a hanger.
Bichette, 3 home runs in the first 2 games of this series. Once in his career, he has homered in 3 straight games. That was in 2020. He actually homered in 4 straight games for the Blue Jays. When he homered in 4 straight games, the first game was at Fenway, and the next 3 were at the 2020 home of the Blue Jays, Salin Field in Buffalo. Oh. Remember they couldn't play in Toronto, so they moved all their home games to Buffalo?
I do not remember that.
He drives this one toward the gap in right center, chasing Young back, and he gets there on the warning track to retire the side. Bichette hit that ball hard. Halfway through, 4-2. That's been 2 different games for Zach Thornton. First 2 innings he threw 58 pitches. Last 2 innings he's thrown 18 pitches. He's retired the last 8 since Gabriel Ruiz's RBI single in the 2nd. Ruiz leads off in the home 5th, and he drives one to deep left field. Back goes Soto, and it's over his head and off the wall. Ruiz around first on his way to 2nd. The throw coming in from Soto, and he's safe. Not a lot of juice on that throw as it came in to Semien. He had to wait for him, and Ruiz just barely got in with a leadoff double.
Ruiz, 2nd hit of the day. That was a cutter that didn't cut. Boy, he stayed right on that. That was just a bullet off the wall. Oh boy, he almost came off.
So a runner in scoring position for James Wood, who's 0 for 2 today.
It's just not a good slide.
He kind of fell into the bat.
Geez, terrible slide.
Wood hit one of the fence in right field that Benj made a nice play on in the 2nd. Takes that one blowing away, a ball and a strike. Austin Warren is up in the Mets bullpen. Warren has been a lifesaver for the Mets.
He certainly has.
And Wood skies one to shallow left. Soto coming in.
Halfway.
Get there in plenty of time and make the catch. And Ruiz back to 2nd. 1 out.
Does not advance the runner.
You heard the third base coach, Victor Estevez, saying halfway.
Victor Estevez has been a very aggressive third base umpire here. Very impressed. And that's going to be it.
So Zach Thornton goes 4 1/3 in his big league debut, and he'll exit after 80 pitches. And the Mets will go to Austin Warren. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. Shop NissanUSA.com. 4-2 Nats. We'll be right back.
Flanagan.
Hey kids, you can join us in the booth to call half an inning of a Mets game on SNY. Parents, Sunday is the last day to enter. Scan the code and submit your child's video for a chance to win the 2026 SNY Kidcaster contest presented by HSS. Austin Warren has been nothing short of fantastic in middle relief for the Mets.
He has been fantastic. He is kind of it's my bulldog, I call him. He's out there, he throws strikes, comes after hitters. Got a good slider, good sinker.
There are 2 hitless innings behind Christian Scott in the opening game of this series. Comes in to face Curtis Mead. So Mead will stay in against the right-hander. Blake Butera choosing not to go to his lefty platoon this early. And Warren pours a fastball in for a strike. Mead blooped a single to right and scored in the first. Took a call third strike in the 2nd. Ruiz at 2nd with 1 out. 4-2 Nationals. We're in the 5th. And Mead takes a sweeper for a strike. 0-2. Zach Thornton in his debut, 80 pitches over 4 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs so far, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 1 home run. Gave up the 3-run homer to Abrams in the first, but pitched really well after that. Ground ball. Runner has to hold. Bichette makes the play. Throws out Meade, 2 away.
He didn't really have to hold there, Gary. That ball was hit to the left of the shortstop. Any ball hit on the infield to the left of the shortstop, you advance to third.
Except he's really slow.
I understand.
Sometimes you have to know your limitations.
Well, you get a good lead and a good on your toes, but I understand.
Now, Blake Butera will go to his lefty platoon and bring in Luis Garcia to bat for Andres Chaparro. Garcia started the first 2 games of this series at first base, went 0 for 8. Came into the series a hot hitter.
He's a pesky hitter.
That's with Ruiz at second and 2 down. And Garcia chases an up and out away fastball, 0-1. Garcia made the transition this year from second base to first base in his 7th big league season. 7th big league season at age 26. His results have been kind of flat. He's not really made the improvements that they had hoped. But he's in more of a platoon role now. They don't let him play much against lefties anymore. That's pulled into right field, a base hit. Ruiz chugging to third, Benj up with the ball. Here comes his throw to the plate on a hop to Sanger, the tag. He is out. Carson Benj with a 1-hop straight to the plate. And they gun down Ruiz to end the inning. First outfield assist for Carson Benj, and it was a thing of beauty. Still 4-2 Nats after 5.
At night.
Well, we talked a lot over the first 2 months of the season about Carson Benj's arm, and he gets to show it off here. His first outfield assist, the All-State Good Hands replay.
Did not rush the throw. Look at this perfect 1-hop to your catcher. Is that blocking the plate, Gary?
Well, he did have the knee down before he had the ball, but he was out by so much it should not matter. Blake Butera came out to talk to the umpires about it. I don't know whether he was too late to challenge the call or whether he was just asking for an explanation for why Sanger was not called for blocking the plate, but either way, no challenge, and the out stays on the board.
Mr. Warren was very happy about that, fired up.
Juan Soto leads off against the new pitcher, Andrew Alvarez.
Well, only 7 innings so far, 7 1/3 and 2 appearances.
Luis Garcia, who pinch hits, stays in the game at first base. Juan Soto banged one off the facade of the second deck in the 3rd inning for his 8th home run and his 2nd in 2 nights. Now facing the left-hander. Takes a fastball, strike 2-1. Zach Littell threw only 60 pitches in his 5 innings. 2 runs, 5 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, a home run. And Soto pops this one up on the infield. Coming in is Meade, the 3rd baseman, into foul ground, and he's got it. 1 out. Alvarez started 5 games for the Nats last year. That was the sum total of his big league experience before this season. Now his 3rd appearance this year, and he's their innings guy. 7 1/3 innings in his first 2 appearances combined. So 1 out and nobody on now. Mark Vientos, who had a fly ball double down the left field line in the 2nd and scored the first Med run. Then he popped to short in the 3rd. Misses low and away with the sinker for ball 1. Nets were down right off the bat in this game. But give Zach Thornton credit for keeping them in the game.
Yes.
After giving up the 3-run homer to Abrams in the 1st inning.
He settled right in. He put it himself nicely.
See whether he gets another go-round next time through the rotation. That's hit up the middle by Vientos, and a diving stop by Nunez gets to his feet and throws him out. Nasim Nunez, who's played like a Gold Glover at second base this year, makes a terrific play for the second out.
Well, that's as good as it gets right here. I mean, just lays out on the backhand. That's just a fine play. And the agility, the quickness to get up, and that's going to always, that'll make your pitcher happy.
Now MJ Melendez swings and misses. So they leave Melendez in against the left-hander. It's been a tough go for MJ. He's 0 for 2 today, 1 for his last 22. Let's have Taylor and Morabito available as right-handed pinch hitters, but Carlos Mendoza not opting to go that way this early in the game. And MJ pulls off that slider, and it's 1-2. Andrew Alvarez, 26 years old, out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Spend any time in San Luis Obispo?
No.
It's a beautiful, beautiful town.
It's got the most of all the Spanish missions that go down El Camino Real. That is the most beautiful mission. That's where the swallows come home. To San Luis Obispo.
And right down from San Luis Obispo is Pismo Beach.
Yep.
Which is gorgeous. Central Coast, California.
That El Camino Real, the King's Highway, ran all the way from San Francisco down to San Diego, and they had all along that line a bunch of missions were built.
How long did it take to take your burro down that highway?
Tell me about it.
2-2 to Melendez. Brett Beatty would be next. And Melendez pounds one into the dirt. MJ started out like a house of fire for the Mets this year after he got called up. After Jared Young went down. Young is out on rehab. He could be ready as soon as next week. 7th pitch of the at-bat. And Melendez takes strike 3 call. Got him on the inside corner. 1-2-3 inning for Alvarez. Keeps it a 4-2 Nats lead. Connor Rogers and Joe DeMeo go deep on pitching, discussing the Clay Holmes injury, the call-up of Zach Thornton, and the latest on Jonah Tong. On the latest episode of the Mets Pod, subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Home 6th inning, C.J. Abrams, who hit the 3-run homer in the first inning off Zach Thornton, leads off against Austin Warren. Warren came on to get the final 2 outs in the 5th. The last one helped out by Carson Bench, throwing out Keibert Ruiz at the plate. Abrams, Cruz, and Lyle up for the Nats in the bottom of the 6th. That fastball caught the top of the zone. It's 2-1. C.J. Abrams now with 10 home runs on the year, 42 runs batted in. He came into the night 4th in the National League in RBIs.
Got a hanging breaking ball right, slider right there, belt high out over the plate.
Now, without looking, Keith.
Yes.
Can you identify the 2 players who were tied for the National League lead in RBIs going into the night? We'll see one of them. We'll see one of them this weekend.
Well, this young man has over 40 right now.
He's got 42 now.
And that's not leading?
Well, 42 led the league going into the night, and Abrams has another hit. The leadoff single in the 6th. Liam Hicks of the Marlins had 42 RBIs coming into the night. Catcher, first baseman. And Andy Pages of the Dodgers. Now, Pages last night faced Mason Miller in the 9th inning and had what Freddie Freeman called one of the best at-bats he had ever seen on a baseball field.
Really?
A 9-pitch at-bat against Mason Miller, who blows everybody away, and Pages wound up with the game-winning sacrifice fly in the 9th as the Dodgers beat the Padres 5-4 to go back into first place. Podhace has been an absolute revelation. I mean, he was benched in the World Series because he couldn't hit. And now he's tearing it up and playing great defense. Dylan Cruz 0 for 2 tonight. Didn't chase the sweeper. Good backhand by Sanger, 2-0. But Hicks was a Rule 5 guy last year. You know, he played a lot for the Marlins as a Rule 5 player, and this year he has blossomed.
I've seen a lot of guys in today's game that have a great year out of the blue, and then the next year they flop.
Well, that's a negative way of looking at it. What about the one good year out of the blue, like Warren Cash, when he hit 360 one year?
That's 68? No,
61.
Yeah,
62.
early in his career.
Then he never hit 300 again. Or Davey Johnson hitting 43 home runs one year for the Braves.
Right. Davey was just like a 270 hitter with the Orioles all those years, the great Oriole teams.
Or Brady Anderson hitting 51 home runs for the Orioles.
Yeah. Well, that was an eye-opener.
That's a good way of putting it. Abrams gets his hand back in. Abrams has 7 steals and 11 tries this year. Fell straight down. It's 3-2 to Cruz. So back-to-back full counts for Warren. Dale and Lyle, the on-deck batter. Zach Thornton has nothing to be ashamed of in his big league debut. Gave up 4 runs and 4 1/3, but kept his team in the game after a rocky beginning. Seemed to settle in as he went along. 3-2. Abrams at first, nobody out. He's running, and it's lined up the middle. A base hit for Cruz, and Abrams will go first to third. So back-to-back base hits for the Nats against Austin Warren to start this bottom of the 6th.
This is the first time I've seen Warren who really hasn't had command of his breaking balls. He's been spot on every appearance with his breaking ball. He's having a little difficulty tonight, much like Rayleigh last night, who couldn't get the ball down and struggled. He's having a hard time getting that slider. That's his out pitch.
That's going to have to bring the infield in. Already down by 2 runs in the 6th inning. Dylan Lyle, the batter, is 0 for 2. Takes that sweeper outside for ball 1. There's nobody up behind Warren in the Mets bullpen. They need for him to get it dialed in. Lyle 1 for 12 in this series. He's got Abrams at third, Cruz at first, and nobody out. Lyle skies one to left. It should be deep enough to get Abrams home. Soto gets behind it, makes the catch. His throw will go to second. That's a sacrifice fly for Dylan Lyle. And the Nats stretch their lead to 5-2. Greg Kimbrell now getting up in the Mets bullpen.
It's a much different lineup, isn't it, Gary? I mean, we're seeing why they are scoring a lot of runs. I mean, they are a team that was always swinging at bad pitches in the past, young. Now they're putting the ball in play.
Well, last night they were super aggressive early in the count against McLean. And McLean kept throwing fastballs early in counts, and they kept whacking it around the yard. It's Jacob Young, was lined out and struck out 0 for 2. Watch out for Cruz at first. He stole 17 bases last year for the Nats, playing just his 2nd game of the season. And Warren checks in on him. Close play, but Cruz got back. That's deciding whether to challenge. And the answer is no.
And that close.
Got the hand back though. Flies this one out to left, chasing Soto back. He got a late start, and it's over his head and off the base of the wall.
Digging for third is Cruz. He'll stop there. In at second with a double is Jacob Young. The third hit of the inning against Austin Warren and the fourth hit in the last 5 batters. That ball fooled Soto at first. Young doesn't usually hit for much power, but he slugged that over Soto's head.
This was a hanging slider here. Another bullet that got over. I mean, nothing you can do there. Short hops the wall. And Warren, that's the first time he just didn't have it. Did not have his breaking ball.
Warren goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up 4 hits, and Craig Kimbrell will try and bail him out. 5-2 Nats in the 6th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Nissan. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyOffers.com. By Prevagen. By Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Get Optimum Fiber Internet. Visit Optimum.com for details. And by your local Honda dealers. Contact your local Honda dealer today. Murky skies over D.C. Rain in the forecast, but it has not rained at all. It's an official game with the Nats leading 5-2 in the 6th. Craig Kimbrell, his second appearance in this series.
And there's the Nissan numbers over 12 innings. Get a little bit worried when he's had such a great career. And you see hitters getting around on his fastball. And just wonder if he's lost that, well, probably has lost that little bit of giddy up. He's in to get a strikeout here.
Kimbrell will turn 38 years of age next week. Comes in to face Nasim Nunez with second and third and 1 out, infield in. And Nunez tries to bunt it on 1 hop to Vientos. The run will score as Vientos takes it to first. Good read by Dylan Cruz. That ball was in the air, but he figured it was going to drop, and it did.
I just disagree with the squeeze there. You got runners on 1 out, runners on second and third. A base hit is 2 runs. That's really safety first. And something we're not used to, Garrison, is, you know, safety squeeze, suicide squeeze.
Well, it's a big part of Nunez's game. So that makes it 6-2 Washington. 2 out in the inning, and Keibert Ruiz, the number 9 hitter, who's already 2 for 2 in this game. A single and a double. He's driven in a run.
Whoa.
Kimbrell finished up the game on Monday night after the Mets scored 10 runs in the top of the 12th. He pitched the bottom of the 12th, gave up an unearned run on 2 hits. And he falls behind on Ruiz, 2-0. Austin Warren, in his first 10 appearances of the season, had given up a total of 1 earned run and never more than 2 hits in a game.
Yes, he's been solid.
Gave up 4 hits in an inning tonight and already charged with 2 runs. And Ruiz flies one out to right. Benj gives some ground, but he's there. And that retires the side. But the Nats tack on 2, and they lead 6-2 after 6.
Faded.
7th inning, Mets down 6-2. Brett Beatty leads off against Andrew Alvarez, who starts his second inning of relief. Beatty takes fastball outside for ball 1. Beatty drove in the Mets' first run with a base hit to right field in the second. Alvarez spins one outside. It's 2-0. Zach Littell went the first 5 innings for Washington. A big difference from his first start against the Mets this year. He gave up just 2 runs in those 5 innings. 2 balls and a strike to Beatty.
He brings that arm way back, almost over the top. That's why he's got that down breaking ball.
Another guy who cups the ball behind him.
Yep. Doesn't want to walk. If you're left-hander, you want to get the lefty out. No leadoff walk. You got to protecting a 4-run lead.
Throws a 3-1 breaking ball in for a strike.
He likes his breaking ball, doesn't he?
He's only walked 1 batter in 8 1/3 big league innings this year. And Beatty walks to start the 7th.
So Brett's on base for the second time tonight. That's the first walk issued by Washington pitching in this game. Here's your high-speed hitting brought to you by Spectrum. Juan Soto's home run off the second deck. The hardest hit ball of the night. Now Marcus Semien is 0 for 2. Takes that fastball on the inside corner, 0-1. The Mets have gone 15 straight innings without drawing a walk since Soto was intentionally walked in the 12th inning on Monday. Ground ball down to first, handled by Garcia, throw to second. They stay on the bag and they turn the double play. Nicely done. The second baseman Nunez covering the bag and making the stretch. It's a 3-4-3 double play.
It's always awkward and tough for a right-hander. So he opts to kind of didn't do the pivot, just did the step and threw kind of off balance, but he made the throw perfectly. So much more easy for a left-hander.
It's very odd to see the second baseman cover on that kind of a double play. There's A.J. Ewing. Because he's got to run to the base and then turn completely around to get that throw.
Yes.
But with the right-hand hitter up, Abrams was playing all the way over in the hole and Nunez was closer to the bat. A.J. Ewing takes a strike and it's 0-2. A.J. is 1 for 2 and a base hit to center in the second. Mets 2 runs, 5 hits. The Nats 6 runs and 8 hits. They've been up since the first inning. And A.J. tries to hold, but he went around strike 3. So Alvarez has his second strikeout, and the Mets are down in the top of the 7th, still down 4. James Wood leads off the home 7th inning and flies the first pitch out to left field. Soto back a couple of strides. In front of the warning track, he's got it. 1 pitch, 1 out for Craig Kimbrell in the 7th. The road ahead, your radio home for the Mets is 8:80 a.m. and streaming on the free Odyssey app. 4 o'clock game tomorrow, weather permitting. It's supposed to rain most of the day. And the Mets are down in Miami where they have a roof for the weekend. Picks on Friday night, SNY Saturday, Sunday. Back home for a 4 o'clock start on Memorial Day against the Reds. 3 with the Reds, 3 with the Marlins on that next homestand. And then the Mets go out west again to Seattle and San Diego, their last Western trip of the year, their 4th trip to the West Coast in their first 5 road trips of the season. Craziness. Curtis Mead is 1 for 3 and he hits one about 3 feet. And Senger throws him out. 2 away. 3 pitches, 2 outs for Kimbrell. Remember last night when Wood hit the inside the park grand slam? We mentioned that the Mets last gave up an inside the park grand slam to Terry Pendleton in 1985.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this. I wasn't there. I don't remember it. But that play where Pendleton hit the inside the park grand slam, there was a horrific collision between Danny Heap and Terry Blocker. Blocker was a big prospect for the Mets. He had just come up a couple of weeks earlier. That was the last game he ever played for the Mets, as they both got carted off the field.
I vaguely remember that, hardly at all. What year was that?
85.
I was there.
I remember seeing a replay of that. I did not know that that was the same play that resulted in the inside the park grand slam. 1-2 to Luis Garcia up for the second time. Where Blocker later resurfaced with the Braves later in the 80s. No injuries on Wood's grand slam, just a lot of confusion out there. Tyrone Taylor just didn't know where the ball was. It's looped into center field. A little better than Ewing thought. He moves back a stride to make the catch. 1-2-3 inning for Kimbrell. He got him out on just 7 pitches. On to the 8th. We're going to the 8th inning. A couple of rookies, Nick Morabito and Zach Thornton, discussing their first couple of days in the big leagues. Nick's already been here for a whole day, so he can really advise Zach on how things work.
Torrens pinch hitting for Senger.
And Luis hits it sharply. 1 hop, knocks down Nunez. He gets to his feet and throws him out. Boy, Nasim Nunez is fun to watch.
He can play. Got a good glove, good hands. It's the second fine play he's made. Oh, man. That was not an easy play. Beautiful.
I mean, it upended him.
It overpowered him.
Nasim Nunez, a couple of years ago, was a Rule 5 pick. Had to spend the whole year with the Nats and really didn't play very much. Got to play a little more last year, and we saw how good a defender he could be at shortstop and at second base. And this year they decided they're going to make him a full-time second baseman, and he is playing Gold Glove caliber second base. Carson Bench gets tied in a knot, and it's 1-2.
That is a fastball inside, and you haven't seen that from Alvarez against left-handed. He's been curved. Just tied up Bench. That would have tied up most hitters. What a sneak attack right there.
Carson is 7 for 14 in this series. Well, he flies this one out to left. And Lyle eases over. 2 out. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on Mercedes-Benz post-game live. Gary Apple and Todd Zeal, gentlemen.
All right, Gary, thank you. Coming up post-game show, going to take a look at Zach Thornton, his big league debut. What did you make of it, Todd?
Look, I thought he struggled out of the gate, but I liked his poise, and we're going to take a look at his outing as a whole.
All right, we will see you guys coming up. Mercedes-Benz post-game live on the way.
All right, gentlemen, 2 out and nobody on. Here's Bo Bichette. And one goes to the backstop, ball 1. Bo's 0 for 3 tonight. Hit one deep to center field that Young ran down his last time up. On the way, seeing Todd Zeal getting ready for the postgame show reminds me that the next home run Juan Soto hits will be the 253rd of his career, which will tie him on the all-time list with Todd Zeal. That's lined into left field, a base hit for Bichette. So Bo gets a good result after some really good at-bats tonight. His 6th hit in the series, and that'll get Soto to the plate with a man on.
Got a little hanging curveball here, slider. He's just starting to get on top. That's what I like to see. Starting to square it up.
So now Soto, who hit a long home run to right field in the 3rd, his 8th of the year, the 252nd of his career, which ties him on the all-time list with a couple of New York baseball icons, Joe Torre and Bobby Mercer.
Lemon. Bobby Mercer's nickname was Lemon.
Lemon?
Yep.
Why?
I think he chewed lemons. I'm not sure. I never played with him.
He seemed like a sweet guy, not a sour guy.
He's a good old Oklahoma kid. Good man.
I like listening to Bobby as a TV analyst.
I did too.
I thought he did a great job. You know, such a great demeanor.
I got to know him because he came over to the National League with the Giants.
Cubs also, right?
Yes.
Oh, you want to look at Soto's 252nd home run? Well, here it is.
Fastball off the facing.
To an 0-1, and he takes a strike. So I am told by Dave Freed, who knows these things, that Ron Blomberg nicknamed Bobby Mercer Lemon because he felt as though Mercer's head was shaped like a lemon.
He had a round face.
Fly ball out to right field. Back goes Cruz near the wall, and it's out of here. Way up in the second deck. 2nd of the night for Soto. Look out, Todd Zeal. Number 253 for Soto, his 9th of the year, and the Mets pull back to within 2. It's now 6-4. Man, is he locked in right now. 5 home runs in his last 7 games. A pair tonight. And he gets the Mets right back in this game.
Well, there's just a lot of pitchers. I just feel like you could just see the confidence that you got nothing to get me out with.
That went conservatively, estimated at 408 feet. Mark Vientos takes a strike. Soto with a pair of bombs tonight, and remember his first time up, he sent Cruz back to the right field fence, yes. And Cruz made a nice catch.
I bet you it's a breaking ball, and I'm correct, and it's a hanger.
Well, back at the place where he started his career, he is having himself a tremendous series. 6 hits, 3 home runs, 6 driven in the 3 games.
They have not been able to keep him in the ballpark.
Alvarez had a couple of hitless innings, but a 2-out single by Bichette, and Soto cashes it in.
This Alvarez throws too many breaking balls.
It's the 29th time in his career that Soto has hit more than 1 home run in a game. Vientos hanging in there against those breaking balls. First home run Andrew Alvarez has allowed this season in 10 innings of work. Tobias Myers is up in the Mets bullpen after Kimbrel got them 5 outs, and Vientos down on strikes, and Alvarez gets through the inning, but Soto gets the Mets closer. 6-4 Nats as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Craig Kimbrel still out there. He's got 5 outs on just 11 pitches, so he faces C.J. Abrams, who knocks the mask right off Luis Torrens. 0-1. Torrens staying in the game after pinch hitting in the top of the inning, and the first pitch he sees knocks the mask right off his face. Welcome to the game. Abrams has been right in the middle of everything. 3-run homer in the first inning, a leadoff single, and scored in the 6th. Those 2 tack-on runs they got against Austin Warren in the 6th inning right now are the difference in this game. Kimbrel misses up and away, a ball and a strike. It was Warren's toughest outing by far this year. He went an inning, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits. Kimbrel, though, has held the fort since, hoping to give the Mets a chance in the 9th. Sean Manaea is up in the Mets bullpen. Might be asked to just come in and get a hitter or 2 out, with Lyle 2 batters away.
There is nobody up in the, sorry, Gary, there's no one up in the bullpen for the Nationals. I guess they're going to run Alvarez out there.
Line right to Simeon, and Abrams retired 1 away. Honda Sports Night comes up after the post-game show tonight. We'll have all the baseball news. Get you ready for Knicks Cavs game 2. What can they do for an encore? Honda Sports Night tonight and every night right here on SNY. 1 out. Here's Dylan Cruz, who singled and scored a run in the 6th. Call strike, 0-1. It's always dicey when you have a guy like Manaea in your bullpen. Pitched 4 innings on Sunday. How much rest does he need before he can bring him back? There's a breaking ball there by Kimbrel, 0-2.
He's definitely the guy that's, it's your classic old-time innings eater, middle reliever that can start and go long, and he's been doing that. He saved the bullpen more than a few times.
He certainly did that on Sunday. Mets don't win that game without his performance. A couple of runs, but then put up a couple of zeros, which gave the Mets a chance to come back. Kimbrel had not gone beyond 1 inning this year. He's already gone 2 innings. And thrown more than 29 pitches in an outing. He's at 19 right now. In fact, the longest outing of his career is 2 innings. Of course, he's been a closer for most of his career. One of the best in history. 440 career saves. Think about that. This is his 865th game, and he's never pitched more than 2 innings in a game. 1-2. Foul back by Cruz to hang in there. Well, Rivera and Hoffman are in the Hall of Fame. Kimbrel should be heading in that direction.
We've got to take a good look at Lee Smith. My goodness.
Swing and a miss. He gets Cruz on an upstairs fastball. And so this is officially the longest outing of Craig Kimbrel's career. He's now gone 2 1/3.
Upstairs has continued up the ladder on him.
He's retired all 7 hitters to face him and now tries to finish off this bottom of the 8th against Dalen Lyle, who had a sacrifice fly his last time up, 0 for 2 otherwise. This is down with a slider, and Lyle held the swing 1-0. The Mets in the 9th are scheduled to send up Melendez, Beatty, and Simeon. So if they stay with the lefty, you probably see more Beto or Taylor as a pinch hitter for Melendez.
It's going to be Taylor.
Either way, you get a speedy guy up there.
Yes. Pinch hit late. You want the veteran up there pinch hitting. I would think it's going to be Taylor.
Lyle went around that time on a fastball low and in, and it's 2-1. It's made a habit of coming from behind over this last stretch of games. Each of their last 6 wins has been a come from behind win. That's lined down the right field line by Lyle, and that's a fair ball bouncing into the corner. Benj plays the carom, and Lyle pulls in at second base with a 2-out double. So after Kimbrel had retired his first 7, he gives up the 2-base hit to Lyle to extend this bottom of the 8th.
Down and in, turned on it, had the middle. Those left-hand hitters, they're low ball hitters.
Scoring position with 2 out for Jacob Young, who hit one off the base of the left field wall for a double in the 6th inning. 1 for 3 on the night. And Young skies one out to left. Soto back onto the warning track right at the fence. He jumps. He can't get it. It's a 2-run homer. Jacob Young, who hit one off the wall in the 6th, hits one over the wall in the 8th. And the Nats reestablish a 4-run lead. Young's 6th home run of the year makes it 8-4 Washington.
Boy, has the ball been carrying today, this series thus far. First pitch fastball, and it's up and in, and he turns on it. He got the barrel there. Juan just runs out of room. I did not think that ball was going.
Jacob Young last year hit 2 home runs the entire season. He's now got 6 home runs already on May the 20th. That's a killer.
That's a backbreaker here.
Now Siem Nunez had a squeeze bunt in the 6th inning to drive in a run. So Kimbrel asked to go further into a game than he's ever gone before. Retired 7 in a row, but a double and then the home run just beyond the reach of Soto, who tried to rob it. Nats came into the day highest scoring team in baseball. They scored 7 runs in a loss on Monday, 9 runs yesterday, 8 more today. On days when they pitch and play defense,
they win.
They're hard to beat.
Yes.
2-2. On the inside corner, got Nunez looking. He's going to challenge the call.
It's a strike. He has to go sit down. Well, actually, go get your glove and go out to the field.
Sterling Optical.
Thank
Strike.
you.
So the inning is over. We go to the 9th. The 2-run homer by Young makes it 8-4 Washington. Ninth inning, 8-4 Washington. Andrew Alvarez is going to try and finish this game for a 4-out save. Nick Morabito leads off. Pinch hitting for MJ Melendez. Morabito made his big league debut last night. Went 0 for 3. Was hit by a pitch. Made a couple of outstanding catches in left field. He's got a new number, one that he selected for himself. He said double 5s are cool.
Okay. Middle linebacker.
Kelly Johnson wore 55 as a Met. He was a big part of the Mets' run in 2015.
Certainly was.
Brett Beatty on deck, and then Marcus Semien. Alvarez has given up 2 runs and 2 hits in his 3 innings of relief. Zach Littell went the first 5. Morabito chases the pitch in the dirt for strike 3. And that's the first out of the 9th. 4th strikeout in relief for Alvarez. 1 away, and Brett Beatty comes up. Oh, Taylor batting for Beatty. Interesting. Beatty's had a good night at the plate. Drew a walk against the lefty in the 7th. Well, Taylor getting the pinch hit at bat here, and he swings and misses at a first pitch breaking ball, 0-1. Tyrone played center field last night, went 0 for 3, 2 for 9 in this series. And he bounces one foul, and it's 0-2. Tomorrow a day game, 4:05 first pitch. David Peterson will pitch, either in front of an opener or not. Cade Cavalli goes for the Nats. And after an exciting start to this series on Monday, things have gone south for the Mets the last 2 nights.
Well, the Nationals have just put the points up.
I mean, last night the Mets had a 5-0 lead, and it got away quickly. Tonight, the Nats jumped on the Mets early, and the Mets have never been able to catch up. They were down 3-0 and 4-1, got it back to 4-2, but the Nats added 2 in the 6th. Soto hit a second home run on the night in the 8th to make it 6-4, but then Jacob Young countered to make it 8-4. Nats trying to get back to 500. They won a game on Saturday that got them to 500 after they had lost 15 straight times with an opportunity to get there. And they're now 1 out away from notching this victory, as Alvarez has now struck out the last 3 batters. And the Mets are down to their final out. Marcus Semien coming up. Marcus has gone 0 for 3 today, 2 for 11 in this series. Andrew Alvarez trying for the rare 4-inning save.
And that will be his first save of the year.
The last time the Nationals had a 4-inning save, they were not the Nationals. It was in 1999 when they were still the Montreal Expos. Anthony Telford had a 4-inning save. And now 27 years later, Andrew Alvarez trying to do the same. 2-0 to Simeon. A.J. Ewing would be next. And Simeon drives one toward the gap in left center field. Young cuts over and makes the catch. And that's how this one ends. Jacob Young hit a 2-run homer for the icing, and he catches the final out. And the Nats have taken 2 of the first 3 in this series as they outscored the Mets tonight 8-4.
Well, there's the guy right there. Abrams hit the 3-run home run early. They got the 3 runs in the first inning. I thought Zach Thornton put it himself well. He settled down after those first 2 innings. But you know, the Nats have shown why they're leading the National League in runs scored. They have just put the points up on the board. So the Mets have to try to salvage a split here tomorrow.
Here's your game summary. Zach Thornton gave up 4 in the first 2 innings and then hung in there after that. C.J. Abrams hit the 3-run homer that put the Mets in an early hole from which they never recovered. And the Nats get to 500 as they've taken 2 of the first 3 in this series. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your local tri-state area Audi dealers. By Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, because where you're treated first matters. By Heineken, proud partner of the New York Mets. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. And by Hyundai. Hyundai gives you America's best warranty on every new vehicle. Visit Hyundai.com for more information. Final score tonight, the Nationals 8, the Mets 4. Final game of this 4-game series tomorrow. First pitch 4:05. Our coverage begins at 3:30 tomorrow right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in D.C. After this break, it's Mercedes-Benz Post-Game Live with Gary Apple and Todd Zeal.